Alright, let's dive into something that's got the film world buzzing right now. So Sony's Screen Gems just snagged the rights to Mime, a supernatural horror flick starring John David Washington and directed by Nikyatu Jusu, the mastermind behind Nanny. And let me tell you, this is one of those deals that feels like it's going to shake things up. But before we get into why, let's set the stage. First off, what makes this really interesting is the team behind it. John David Washington, fresh off Tenet, is stepping into the horror genre, which is a bold move for an actor known for his dramatic and action roles. Personally, I think this could be a game changer for him. Horror demands a different kind of vulnerability, and I'm curious to see how he'll navigate that. Then, there's Nikyatu Jusu, whose Nanny not only won the Sundance Grand Jury Prize, but also broke ground as the first horror film to do so. What many people don't realize is that Nanny wasn't just a horror movie. It was a deeply layered exploration of identity, motherhood, and the immigrant experience. So, the fact that Jusu's next project is another horror film set in an NYC apartment complex during a heatwave blackout? That's not just a coincidence, it's a statement. If you take a step back and think about it, Jusu seems to be carving out a niche where horror meets social commentary, and I'm here for it. Now, let's talk about the setting. A NYC apartment complex during a heatwave blackout. That's not just a backdrop, it's a character in itself. What this really suggests is a claustrophobic, tension-filled environment where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. I mean, think about it. You're trapped in a building with no power, no escape, and something sinister lurking in the shadows. It's a recipe for psychological terror, and I can already feel the anxiety creeping in. What makes this even more intriguing is that it's based on an original idea by Stephen Herman. In an era where sequels and reboots dominate, an original horror concept feels like a breath of fresh air, or maybe a chill down the spine. But here's where it gets even more fascinating: the producers. Matt Tolmach and Scott Derrickson are on board, and Derrickson's first-look deal with Screen Gems means this project has some serious backing. Derrickson, of course, is no stranger to horror, having directed The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Doctor Strange. So, his involvement adds a layer of credibility and a promise of high-quality scares. And let's not forget that Washington is also producing, which tells me he's deeply invested in this project. From my perspective, this level of collaboration between talent and producers is what elevates a film from good to great. Now, let's zoom out for a second. What does this project say about the state of horror right now? Personally, I think we're in a golden age of horror that's pushing boundaries in terms of storytelling and representation. Nanny proved that horror can tackle complex social issues while still delivering chills, and Mime seems poised to continue that legacy. One thing that immediately stands out is how Jusu's work is part of a broader trend of Black filmmakers redefining the genre. Jordan Peele's Get Out and Us come to mind, but Jusu's approach feels distinct, more personal, more intimate. This raises a deeper question: can horror be a vehicle for social change? I'd argue yes, and Mime could be the next chapter in that conversation. Finally, let's talk about the business side of things. Screen Gems beating out Amazon and Searchlight for this package is a big deal. It shows that Sony is doubling down on horror, a genre that's proven to be both critically acclaimed and commercially successful. And with Blumhouse and Amazon scooping up Nanny for $7 million out of Sundance, there's clearly an appetite for Jusu's vision. What this really suggests is that studios are recognizing the value of fresh voices in horror, and that's a win for everyone: filmmakers, audiences, and the industry as a whole. So where does this leave us? Mime is still in active development, with plans to shoot in the spring, but it's already shaping up to be one of the most anticipated horror films of the year. Personally, I'm most excited to see how Jusu and Washington collaborate to create something that's both terrifying and thought-provoking. What makes this project so compelling is that it's not just a horror movie. It's a statement, a challenge, and a promise. And if there's one thing I've learned about horror, it's that the best films are the ones that stay with you long after the credits roll. So, here's my question for you. What do you think Mime will bring to the table? Let me know in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.